Shall we?
Let's
Start it again.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
So, as you would see, there's like more energy in the group, more laughter, more. Everyone's like upbeat. So Zachary, who joined us today from the US again, and we picked him up, surprising him from the Dimapur airport. So let him talk about that anecdote later. So today is day 20 of our tour across the Northeast, and we have a new member now, Zachary, added to the whole equation.
Yeah.
So we are on the 4th of December, and we started off very early in the morning again from the bungalow, Chameli Mem Saab bungalow, in just outskirts of Jorhat in Assam. So we left early morning. We had a nice, lovely breakfast, and all of us were quite anxious because we had to reach the airport on time. And because typically, last 19 days, if the Google Maps says 3 hours, we're reaching in about 7-8 hours. So, and today morning it said 3 hours, 3.5 hours, 3 hours 25 minutes, and Dan was like very anxious, checking alternate routes. I think at one point there he was like, and he was enjoying beauty sleep, catching up with the sleep, and Dan says, Mansoor, this is shorter, but it says same 88. What do we do? So, okay, let's do it. So there were a lot of anxious moments, and then finally we arrived at least about 2 hours before the flight landed, right?
Yeah, we were.
And into Dimapur, where Zachary was landing in, and to our surprise, and we were shocked because what did we see when we arrived in Dimapur?
Oh, all these fancy cars?
Absolute shutdown because today was
Oh,
Sunday
of course,
morning.
Sunday, yeah.
But what about the sign?
Huh?
The sign?
The
The
sign.
Hindi sign for Z.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about
Was
this morning.
this, yes.
So we just arrived into Dimapur, and as we're driving into Dimapur, we realized it's a Sunday morning because
Yeah.
every single shop, big, small, whatever they are selling, was shut, and we were hungry. We wanted to eat something. We went, every single restaurant, every single cafe, every single shop was closed. Even the fuel stations were closed. Eventually, we had no option, but we took a narrow, winding lane drive through some residential area of Jorhat. Gave us a good peek into the town, I guess. And we got back to the airport, parked up, and all set to wait and prank Zachary. I mean, if Annie, Dan, you want to say something?
Tell us what we did to get ready for Zachary.
Well, the night before, we were in a
Small restaurant,
biryani
yes,
restaurant,
joint in,
which was really good. It had some raita,
Yeah, right on.
raita sauce made out of
Yogurt and
Yogurt.
cucumber and
It was really good dinner. But then you had purchased a big sheet of very nice thick paper, and we were going to put a big Z on it because Zachary was expecting a
I
Z.
told Zachary, I called you Z. I told Zachary that look for the sign at the airport with a big Z on it, right? But then we had this idea, well, the driver's not going to speak English, so let's put it in Hindi, right? So we come up with this Hindi character, and so then Annie drew it out, colored it out with a couple different pens. So we've got this big signboard that in Hindi it reads Z, right?
It was. I'm sorry, we don't have it right now
we don't have
because it's in the car. But
So this evolved into really pranking Zachary. So we figured, well, okay, in the first place, we told Zachary that he was going to be in a car here and then drive 2 or 3 hours to find us in Kohima. And so you weren't even expecting us to be here.
there.
Or there at the airport. And in the meantime, we changed our routing so that we could actually be at Denver to pick you up. But we didn't tell you, right? And so we didn't have this brilliant idea, okay, not expecting us, he's expecting a car. And then we got there, they got all the tuk-tuks, the little autos all lined up,
Yeah,
right?
autos.
Three-wheelers, you know? So I said, okay, let's get one of these tuk-tuk drivers, auto drivers, to meet him and take him back and put him in it. And
That
then,
was fun, real
and then
fun.
Zachary's gonna think that he's got a 3-hour ride in this little three-wheeler up the side of the mountain, you know, to find us. And so it worked pretty well. So we got it all set up with the driver.
The fun thing is, you know, the first driver we spoke to, and he said, sir, and because these guys were speaking to me in Hindi, I was speaking to them in Hindi. That's the best language they understood from my side. And this guy says, sir, how can you do this to that poor boy? I mean, I'm going to feel guilty and bad. I said, are you crazy? It's a prank, and we're paying you for it. So he says, no, sir, but I will feel bad. How can I do such a thing? I mean, that's the kind of people that you find around, and it's surprising. It's surprising.
Yeah.
And then his friends agreed, because eventually, you know, we found that he had even more, you know, bad condition auto, and Dan wanted to give him the worst of the autos parked over there. So,
Yeah.
so he agreed, and then he,
But I have to
he
say,
was part of
I
it.
was also feeling terrible about it. With Zachary.
She was.
I tell you that with the seats all ripped up, and you're gonna have him drive out of the airport and then turn around. I don't, poor Zachary.
So Zachary, what did you think? I mean, you came out of customs,
Yeah.
and then you're looking for the guy.
Well, yeah, and so this whole time since I've been in India, I've been in like stay like present, stay like alert, like be very mindful of what's going on, like I don't want to miss anything. So I was just like trying to follow my instructions. So yeah, you had texted me right as I was about to take off from Kolkata, and you said, "Hey, so Google Maps looks like it might actually be 6 to 7 hours instead of 3 to 4." So I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And then as I landed, I got out of the plane, went to baggage claim, and was really focused on finding my bags because I wasn't sure if they were gonna make it. Just wanted to make sure they would because I had 2 check
First
bags.
time, Zachary's
Yeah.
first time in Asia,
Yeah.
and first time in India, of course, yeah.
So I found both my bags, was relieved, and then went to customs, and that took a little bit longer because they were asking me for a specific address in Kohima. And so I was a little bit flustered and just was like, wanted to make sure I got through all that. And I'm texting Grandpa Dan, like, I need an address, and oh, they're not happy with just the Airbnb, like I need all this stuff. So I finally got through that, and I'm like taking a deep breath, and then you had also said, oh, the driver doesn't speak English, and the sign will be in Hindi. So I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna find this person, but hopefully they'll know that I'm just a white guy. Like, I don't So then I go out, and there's somebody standing there with a sign with like some Z's on it, and he says, Dan Mansoor. And I said, oh yeah, that's me. And then he immediately starts taking off walking, and so I'm like trying to follow him. He like took my bag, and I was trying to ask him his name. And just like make some conversation. He said, no English, no English.
I was having fun because I was following them with a camera.
Yeah, you were
Captain
following me.
Benjamin.
I had no
I was
idea.
having fun.
I had
And
no
then,
idea.
of course, we told the driver, no English.
Yeah. And he did it. He played the part
He
perfectly.
was great.
He was just,
Perfect.
yeah, he was just straight ahead.
Punch-up, he was punch-up.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
great. So I was like, okay. And then we walk kind of all to like the back of the parking lot. And then he goes and sits down in the tuk-tuk. And he's like, great. And he kind of throws my bag in the back.
What,
He's like,
what did you think when you walked past all those fancy cars and go all the way out to the...
I was just like, still just like, okay, I'm with the guy. I didn't know what kind of car. I didn't really have time to even process it until
I'm in safe hands.
Yeah.
because He said that much.
Yeah, I was just relieved that I was with the right person and I had my bags. I was like, I'm 2 thumbs up right now. And then he sits down at the tuk-tuk and I was like, oh, okay, this is, here we go. And then we went and sat down and like, I'm like holding all my bags, like on my legs, and then he starts zooming off.
And there's no doors, right?
There's no doors,
Yeah.
no doors. One of my bags is like an inch away from the other side, like about to fall out. And we went far enough that I got like a 30-second video of me, and I'm like texting Kelsey, like, hey, I'm gonna be in this for like 6 hours. Just whatever. And so then I started to put my bags in the bag and trying to get comfortable. And I was like holding on to everything.
So
and
Zach was thinking we're going to send him by the auto rickshaw from Dimapur to Kohima, which people even dread going in a regular car.
Which I learned after doing the drive is windy mountain roads all up, and there's big dirt potholes along the way. But then we got, I don't know how, like a quarter of a mile or something. And then he says something to some, I don't know if it's one of the military guys, he yells something at him and then turns around. And so I was like, oh, is something wrong? Like, I don't know what's going on. He goes all the way back into the airport, and there was like a couple other tuk-tuks kind of like, they looked like he was following them. So I was like, oh, are they like supposed to be doing something? Like, are they getting called back to the airport for some reason? And as I'm like trying to see where they're going, then all of a sudden YouTube just pop into my, like, pop right in front of me, and I was like, oh. And then it all made sense. And I was shocked.
So one thing that really happened when I was standing and waiting for Zach to come out and be ready with the video. First of all, I mean, he was one of the last guys to come out, right? Because the address thing took time. So our boy with the sign was the only guy. So that spoiled the fun of it. It became a little, and our boy also was a little eager, right? Because he said, man, I've been standing and standing. This man, he's looking back at me. I said, where is he? He said, he'll come. So this guy was so eager that there were two other, Westerners who came in, came out, and he's asking them, Z? And they said, no. Then I had to go back to him and I said, don't ask him. Let him just walk off and then you follow him. But then he couldn't control himself. He just stopped and the minute he saw him and he said, oh, see, come.
Right, as soon as I got out the door.
So one of the thoughts that crossed my mind at that point in time was, man, we're doing this. Dan had taken a picture of the person. We also had a picture of not a picture, but we knew all the other parking attendants who knew the auto driver as well as his auto, right? Auto rickshaw. But the thing that crossed my mind at that point in time is, man, I hope everything is okay, because if this man runs away with Zach and asks us for a ransom, saying that, so that thought crossed my mind, and I was like, just before he came, and now I don't know whether to go to Dan and ask him, set him up another auto so that he follows him, or shall I, take the video, or do I go hell with the video? So I was very confused at that time. And I couldn't even ask you guys to run immediately behind because my car, there was no parking slot available after that. So my car was parked, just parallel to all the other bikes standing there. So that was one thought. I was like, my God, I just hope everything goes well.
That didn't even occur to me. So we would have been like 4 hours out, and then I would have been like, I have no idea if we're actually going the right way. Like, we could have totally been taking me somewhere else.
Yeah.
And imagine if that would have really happened, and just building on that story. And we messaging and calling Zach saying that, jump out, stop. And Zach saying, what the hell? You jump out now, why?
And then I'd just be walking through.
Through the jungle.
Yeah. As they say, every adventure is amazing if you live to tell the tale.
Yes.
Or if you don't get kidnapped.
Yeah.
In this case.
It was such a great, wonderful. It was fun.
It was great.
From the start to finish. It was.
And I've been hearing a lot about Zachary, but it's fantastic seeing you again in person.
Yeah.
And great going. I'm sure we're going to have even more fun now.
Yes.
Well, real quick then, what's your first impression, I guess?
My first impression was just how beautiful it was. Even like the parking, just all the trees above was such a breath of fresh air. And then the drive was beautiful, just seeing like kind of going out of Dimapur and then seeing us go into the mountains and seeing like the hills and all the trees and everything. And just, it's beautiful just and then seeing everyone kind of just going about their day. And then it was great, just even more as we got climbed higher and higher and then starting to see like Kohima Way on the distance on the hills. And then as we got into it, it was just amazing. Like it's just it felt so rich and so like, what's the word? Like dense. Like there's just so much to see and take in everywhere you look. So I was just.
Don't forget the pizza.
Oh yeah, welcome to India was Domino's Pizza. in Singapore, yeah.
That was the only restaurant open at about 1 p.m. in the afternoon today in Dimapur.
We were all,
And
and it was better, you said it was better than.
Yeah, we have a Domino's on my corner in Long Beach, and it just knocked it out of the park. It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
Because when back in Long Beach, it's just cheese. Like it's cheese, nothing. But this was like the peppers and the
Flavorful.
paneer. Yeah, it was delicious.
Well, we made it here.
and then of course we had we couldn't stop ourselves before getting to our homestay here in the town. We couldn't stop ourselves from parking up and taking a walk in the market.
Yeah, tell me about the market.
Yeah, that was, I think, my highlight of today. It
Exactly.
was just the market was just fascinating. It was just.
What was the, I asked you, what was your feeling after that place, the meat market I took you to?
The meat market, I mean, it was just like unlike anything I've ever even come close to experiencing. So it was just partly awe, partly shock of just seeing goat heads lined up, bucketing eels.
Wait till you get to the dog meat market.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Oh, and then this is kind of this underground market area, and they got all the fish and the hanging pieces of meat and body parts. And then there's a kind of a cage, not even a cage, a corral in one corner with a bunch of ducks and geese.
Yeah.
They're just all running around.
Yeah, fresh.
Very fresh.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. For me, it was probably the most people we've been the closest to the whole time. Right? It just over the top people, right? And everybody's doing something, going someplace or talking, or the street vendors are all set up with their food carts and stuff, and that was just over the top, in your face kind of stuff.
So I think it'll be fun because that market where we stopped was the old main market of Kohima, where all the street vendors set up and food stalls and all kinds of wares they are selling, and during the festival particularly. So the entire festival, whoever's at the festival want to hang out there in the evening so that they can see who's come to the festival, kind of. So we'll do it tomorrow night probably.
So tomorrow, up to the festival.
Yeah. So tomorrow's going to be our first day at the 23rd Hornbill Festival in Nagaland, in Kohima, in Kisama village. That's the festival. That's the village where the festival happens, Kisama.
Oh.
So we're gonna go there in the morning, and we're gonna spend about 3 days around the festival, in and around, and Kohima and the festival. And
Do we have 4 nights here?
we have yes, we have 3 nights at this place. Then we have another 1 or 2 nights at a village nearby. Whether it's a 1 village or 2 village, we'll come to know by tomorrow.
Okay. So we'll be in this area.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be here. Yeah. So we're gonna be leaving this place only on the 10th morning and heading to Kaziranga, and then 3 nights Kaziranga, then 1 night at Guwahati just before we board the train early morning to Varanasi. That's the plan.
Okay.
So yes, guys,
Good.
great time.
Anything else from the?
Well, just, I was explaining to Zachary how this area that has valleys or basins and then mountains, like several of them in the area, but we are now ready for bed. But the mountains are extremely high, and so you're just traveling around the contours of the mountains, and it's just amazing how high up we suddenly are again.
Well, good day. Thank you, Mansur, for
Great.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
for all the
Great.
driving,
Yeah, thank you.
the
Have a great.
pranksterism.
That was definitely fun.
That was
Yeah.
great.
But I think you also had when Dan, Zachary, and me went for a walk in the market.
Mhm.
You had a great window seat
Yes.
of the market,
I
watching a lot of people going by. Any
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah, and
interactions
mostly
or
it
photographs?
was men, and quite a few of them seemed to be, one in particular was totally drunk, and there weren't very many women. the only women were looking at shoes in a little setup, street shoe market. So I was I was feeling overwhelmed just by seeing the people going by, and I didn't feel really safe. And the drunk guy eventually actually came and kind of, well, he didn't speak, but he ran into the car with
Oh.
marks. I don't think he hurt anything, but you know,
Yes.
he was drunk and he was right there, and I just. So I think a good night's sleep. I was gonna tell you, I'm not going out again, not tonight, you know,
Okay.
because I
But
thought.
then they wanted you to go to drug.
Oh yeah, then we found out by loudspeaker in a car and by a man coming and knocking on the window with a badge saying, "You have to move your car." He said, "They're coming, they're coming."
Yeah, and the entire street, they blocked traffic off, and
Yeah.
we got to drive through most of it today.
Yeah. Just, anyway, it's gonna be much different tomorrow in the daylight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Every day's an adventure.
Oh, yeah.
That's been our challenge, 20 days out or something. And we haven't had a chance to post much, much less even think about much, because every day's like this. Just,
I think we posted like 3.
yeah. We've done more,
Each maybe.
we've done more stuff to the family than we have to
Yeah,
this
a
week.
lot to family.
But anyhow, we'll see you bright early tomorrow morning, 8:30 or something?
8:30.
8:30 for breakfast, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
And we're gonna have
Okay.
a very fine array of 2 to 3 to 1 egg omelets, some plain, some very,
Some double, some triple,
Yeah.
and some
some
masala,
masala, some plain.
some plain, and toast and jam and butter,
And
and honey,
And
Yeah.
and cornflakes.
Okay. Good
That's
night.
it.
okay. Well, everyone.
Get your snacks after
Oh, yeah.
for 2 o'clock.